There's a trick, a simple trick, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. It starts with a crisis, a threat, something so big, so dangerous that everything must be done to stop it. Terrorism, crime, election fraud, a border out of control. The people in power tell you these threats are everywhere. They tell you they are real, and then they tell you what must be done. More police, more surveillance, more restrictions, more control. But here's the thing. These same people, the ones who want you to see terrorism in every shadow, fraud in every ballot box, danger in every protest, are the ones who tell you that other problems don't exist. That racism isn't real, that censorship doesn't happen, that voter suppression is a myth. It's not an accident, it's not hypocrisy, it's strategy. For decades, we've been told that terrorism is the greatest threat to our way of life, that we must sacrifice rights, freedoms, and privacy to stop it. Surveillance programs, police militarization, entire wars. But what is terrorism really? The word suggests fear, panic, the idea that nowhere is safe. But fear doesn't just come from the acts of terror themselves, it comes from the government's response to them. Not scared enough? Here's a color-coded terror alert system to tell you exactly how afraid to be. Still not scared? Let's make you take off your shoes at the airport, confiscate your water bottles, remind you that every stranger could be a threat. Still not enough? Let's pass a law that lets the government spy on you, just in case. Fear is the goal. Fear is the product. And the ones selling it are the ones who benefit from it. Look at how terrorism is defined. When a white gunman murders people at a black church, it's a lone wolf, a disturbed individual. But when a Muslim man commits an act of violence, it's immediately labeled terrorism. When black communities protest police killings, they are rioters and thugs. But when a mob storms the Capitol, waving Confederate flags, suddenly the word terrorist is a step too far. The same people who built their careers on fighting terrorism will tell you without hesitation that racism is not a problem, that systemic discrimination doesn't exist, that discussing race is divisive. But here's the real trick. They don't just ignore racism, they create it. Why? Because the war on terror wasn't just about foreign battlefields, it was about domestic perception. Every new law, every new policy told Americans to see a threat where there was none, to fear people who didn't deserve it, and that fear turned to violence. The terrorism crisis didn't just lead to surveillance programs. It led to hate, discrimination, and civil rights violations, all while those in power dismissed racism as a made-up issue. This is the playbook, the same one used over and over again. We are told that cancel culture is destroying free speech. But the loudest voices against cancel culture are the ones banning books, silencing teachers, and passing laws that criminalize protest. We are told that elections are being stolen by fraudulent votes, but the people pushing that lie are the ones passing laws that strip voting rights from entire communities. We are told that undocumented immigrants are the problem, but the businesses funding those campaigns are the ones profiting from cheap, exploited labor. It's not about truth, it's about control. The threat is always exaggerated. The real issue is always dismissed. The solution is always more power, more restriction, more fear. And every time the same people manufacture the crisis and engineer the repression. The war on terror created racist policies. The fear of voter fraud created voter suppression. The outrage over cancel culture created real censorship. The panic over the border created corporate exploitation. Every crisis has a target. And every solution serves the same purpose: consolidate power at the expense of your rights. This is the trick, the simple trick. Now you see it.